Willkommen, or should I say more like welcome, because this band is very German-like, German-sounding, but it's in fact from Sacramento, California. So without further ado, let's take a look at a band called Minenwerfer. As you can see, there's a couple of albums, Volkslieder and Alpenpässe, which are here for review. The other one, Alpenpässe, that is a recent release, third album by the band, while Volkslieder is in fact the first album, now reissued in 2019. Or now we're probably 2020 when this video comes out, so it's already past year. So this one was previously released by another label, but it has been re-released quite a few times now. As you can see, only 5 tracks, roughly 40 minutes. The style, black metal. One could even say very fast-paced black metal. And as you can see, the style is very warlike. It's about actually World War I, not so much more loved World War II. And as you can see, this album is dedicated to all soldiers that gave their lives during the Great War. So this is not some evil doing. Now the second album is a bit different. I'm gonna just unbox it for your convenience before I start talking about more about the music. And there's quite a few years between these two, given that the band was already founded in 2007, roughly. And now the latest album, this one is of 2019, October release. A two-man band, and they actually had a hiatus at some point before continuing. They released quite a few smaller releases, demos, MCD, split, whatever. And here we have the third full-length album. Now there is also the second full-length album, which I have not heard, so I'm not gonna even compare or try to compare it to these two ones. This is a little bit more lengthier, more tracks, and about 59 minutes. But way more than just the length has changed through the career of this band. And I would like to first talk to you about this Volkslieder album. Now, war theme and fast-paced black metal. I don't know about you guys, but to me it reminds so much of Marduk that it would be easily to say that this is kind of a copycat band. However, there are differences as well, especially with the last track here, the Battle of Verdun, which is then again totally different. The first tracks are pretty much carved from the same wood or stone, very fast-paced, very intense, in-your-face kind of stuff. Very much you probably get used to many Marduk albums. Obviously, Marduk 2 has mid-paced songs, but the fast-paced ones are the ones that Marduk is mostly known for. Now, the last track, which is almost 20 minutes long, it's very different. It's mid-paced and it's almost like getting into atmospheric style. It's dark and it's kind of a sinister mood. And my opinion is that it's definitely the best track on this album. Why so? Not only because it is kind of a moody, and not only because it's mid-tempo, and definitely not because it's lengthy one, but it's overall like grower. It's kind of those kind of tracks that kind of gets into you and builds up very patient way, and as such it creates this wonderful sinister mood for the whole album. Now the funny thing is that obviously because these first tracks are the intense and fast-paced ones, the music is kind of changing its course throughout the album. First you get this intense pounding, and then as if the band was just like out of stamina, it changed to slow-paced or mid-tempo one, and the whole feeling just changed. So if the first tracks are more like machine guns going and that kind of stuff, the last one is more like digging a grave. Now, obviously, it's a good side to have this kind of a diverse, this more varied feeling with the music. But I mean, it's not for everybody, and I don't know. Maybe it might have made more sense if it was just like first tracks first with the fast tempo and then slow one. But I don't know. This is pretty nice album, given that it's kind of a weak in production, kind of a thin guitar sound, and the drums are not that good. High-pitched screamy vocals are definitely not for everybody, but in my opinion, they do just fine. So it's a pretty nice CD, but not a great or very memorable one. Now, when we have this second album, Alpenpässe, this is very, very different, to be honest. It's mostly featuring lengthy tracks, a couple of more than 10 minutes, and the other ones 7-9 minutes or so, which then again turns into 59 minutes an album. And I would say this is more the style of Cascadian black metal bands. If you think bands like Wolves in the Throne Room and some other bands from the same area from Northwest United States, closer to Seattle, Washington State anyway, this is more like that. So kind of a more atmospheric part, some of very lengthy lead guitar solos, even bass leads, bass solos and stuff like that. And sometimes it feels like the band is going to the progressive nature of black metal. Surely there are some faster paced and more intense parts as well, but it's mostly, in my opinion, dominated by these kind of soothing parts. So it's a very different in design in that sense. So it's very, very much more progressive and less kind of a traditional second wave black metal. Now, when we put these two babies in comparison, it's kind of it must be understood that these are of two different breed. The band might be the same, the members might be the same, and the themes might be the same, but it's very, very different in terms of being the different albums. And I must say, I really enjoy this first one even more, even though it's probably less, say, original than this one. It's also working better because so many songs are just, making more sense, and they're not kind of so lengthy, and they're not like going different places, which sometimes makes me think that it doesn't even make that much of a sense. Both are decent albums, but this is somewhat better. So if you have to pick one where to start from, go with this one. If you then again like this one, it doesn't mean that you're gonna like that one, or the other way around. So they probably both need your listening. Now, the good news is that it's all on Bandcamp, so you can just get to know the band from right there, and there are other releases as well. So for people who are new to the band, go forth and enjoy some of these tracks. Who knows what else good candies there might be available. But be sure to check out, there are not too many bands from United States singing about World War I can tell you about that much. So there you have it, Minenwerfer, which by the way means like a mortar. So throwing up those grenades and going boom. There you have it. Go and enjoy.